So you want to romanticize your life in a realistic way that you'll stick to and won't be immediately forgotten the second the cyborg lord of your choice claws you back into your curated algorithm? Well, let's put down the brain rot and the AI slop and maybe the Netflix ed gain edits and get back to the basics. Attention, fellow scholars, the autumn bell has tolled. Please refrain from panic. The mysterious sounds coming from the restoration wing once again are not supernatural. Welcome to spooky season at the study. Seasonal advisories. Sweaters are now considered formal attire, and under no circumstances should you leave the cribs. They are unionized now, demanding for a better ballroom in their east wing. Hi friends, welcome back to the study. So let me guess, you rewatched your favorite Studio Ghibli movie or whatever comfy cozy film. You want to get those cozy comfy vibes in your life. Well, luckily for us, the first dispatch of the season came from a fellow scholar and they asked, how do you romanticize life? Question to Penn. Why is autumn and the holiday season the best time of year for so many of us? Do you think that Miyazaki was giving us lessons in how to live? Today's dispatch is about something we all talk about but rarely define, what it actually means to romanticize your life. And this is coming from me, a 29-year-old ADHD-brained data engineer that sends herself into analysis paralysis daily, talking about inner peace. So yes, irony fully noted. And I'm going to stand on my little hill in DC and say, romanticizing your life isn't about pretending it's a movie. We are too tired to fake it till we make it, and being quote unquote that girl is not realistic 24/7. It's about realizing that your life already is one. We're not talking about luxury or being the main character. We're talking about the quiet, introverted kind where we are all just side characters drinking tea, noticing a butterfly at a picnic in the woods, while the main character, the tech bros, everybody else is going off and chasing that life. In Ghibli movies, nothing is rushed. You'll see a character sweep the floors or watch the rain for a full minute and somehow it's captivating. That's because Miyazaki builds what's called the pause between actions. I'm assuming that most people that clicked on this dispatch is an introvert. And as introverts, we crave that naturally. Quiet time, breathing space, no constant stimulation. So if you want to romanticize your life, start by creating in your own day. Don't fill every silent moment. Let music play while you cook. Let yourself think between chapters. A quote Miyazaki wrote in Kiki's Delivery Service was, "Stop trying. Take long walks, look at scenery. Doze off at noon. Don't even think about flying. And then pretty soon you'll be flying again." But let's look closer. The depth of his words isn't in fantasy. It's how his characters notice. They kneel before the simple act of living. The goal isn't to do more, it's to notice more and to be in the moment. I think we forget that movies aren't made of perfect moments. They're made of quiet breakfasts, rainy walks, small arguments that make us cry in the car. The part where nothing really happens, that's the heart of it. And maybe that's what our lives are too. We just don't notice because we are waiting for the next big scene. Most of us who are quiet connect to the world through art. We feel seen in a lyric, a passage, a film scene. So one of the biggest ways to romanticize your life isn't to escape into those. It's to let them spill into your everyday. And Ghibli's worlds are built on listening to the wind, rain, creaks, footsteps, silence, and music. It's almost like it's an invitation, because noticing sound is noticing life. Here in the study, we call that presence in the ordinary, or just living in the moment. The art of living slowly enough to feel time passing through you. And you know, Robert Schumann wrote letters to Clara that sounded like symphonies. And I Send My Fiance, reels and memes, same sentiment, different century. And maybe that's what introverts understand best, that the quiet arts are our love language. So if you don't already have a creative outlet, try finding one. Something that lets your inner world move outward, even if it's imperfect. That's where the real beauty begins. Because romanticism was never about grand gestures or trips. It was about feeling deeply enough to let contradictions coexist. Think about why we love autumn so much, or the holidays. It's because those are the few times we give ourselves permission to make rituals. Every fall, we pull out our spooky sweaters and fuzzy socks. We make lists of nostalgic shows, melt cozy scents, hang up cute little decorations. We put so much effort into creating a vibe, life feels like it has intention again. And then I would hang on to those way too long just to have something to look forward to because I just don't want to go back to a regular boring home that doesn't have intention. This because it brings me so much happiness and joy. I am using all 5 of my senses more often, so I am constantly brought back into the moment, the present moment. So, if you're like that too, let's bottle it up. Take that same care that you give to spooky season, fall season, holiday season, and apply it elsewhere. At your desk, in your morning coffee, your commute, your lunch break, sit still long enough and create a list. You could do by hand, typing, drawing, Pinterest, collage of everything that puts you in the now, in the present moment, where your soul feels like it breathed, where you get that excited little stim feeling for something seemingly so simple, or something that makes you use one of your 5 senses intentionally. Everyone's will look different. Be careful not to mix it up with manifestation or future goals. It's what you can do in your normal everyday right now. But manifestation and goals are good. That's just a separate topic. So, for example, start your day going to a window or door and notice the weather. Maybe pick a song or make a playlist of the current weather pattern, like Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles. Maybe make one morning a week a coffee house morning where you wake up a little early, crack open a new book, and play some calming lo-fi beats before work. Maybe before reading or studying, have a set playlist or candle. Turn your chores into a sensory moment. Light a candle, put on music, dance a little bit, treat it like it's your movie montage. Start decorating your workspace. Even tiny touches make your environment feel alive. Keep a comfort movie list for nights you feel drained. Reread a favorite book or rewatch a favorite TV show or movie every season. It's almost like visiting an old friend. Honestly, my favorite movies to rewatch are musicals. If you guys have not invested in a record player, that's like peak because it just creates such a good vibe. Like, it really is just like really intentional in my opinion. So good. Try having one day a week or month where you cook something a little special. Decorate. Decorating and taking care of your space is so important for your mental health. I also mean this at work too, if you're able. My cubicle, when I start taking time to decorate and being intentional with what I brought in, start to feel like a extension of my home. Speak positively in your mind and call out all the good things that happen. Save all your most anticipated videos, movies, shows, and books for Friday. Then throw on a cozy outfit, blanket, and light some candles and indulge. Have a physical token of growth. I bought my Monstera at the beginning of my violin journey about 2.5 years ago, and seeing it grow is also a outward way of how much you have grown in a way that represents life. Or it could be something as simple as the feeling of cold, clean sheets, or warm, after a nice warm shower. The goal is be intentional. So once you have some ideas for those tiny moments that make you feel present, the next step is to meet them halfway. To start living like you mean it, basically being a kid again. Be curious, explore sounds, sights, taste. That doesn't require a big transformation. It begins with small human gestures. Step outside barefoot and breathe. Light a candle for yourself, not for the aesthetic, but as a way of saying, I'm here. Notice the neighborhood trees on your street, the way the air feels different in the morning, the smell before rain. Curate a small corner that belongs to you, a desk, a closet, even a shoebox of your treasures that remind you of who you are. These are all little reminders that you are alive. One of my favorite ways to practice this is through music. Learning an instrument as an adult forces you to be intentional. You can't play on autopilot. You have to be here, listening, correcting, breathing. That practice mindset is a form of meditation. It snaps you out of the robotic rut and pulls you back into your body. It's why I love picking up my violin after I commute back home from my 9 to 5. Maybe that's what all of this really is. Finding anything in your current life that brings you back to now. Noticing that you're here, right in the middle of your own story. When I got engaged recently, it wasn't grand or the expected cinematic moment. And for a second, I was like, wait, there was no external buildup or climax. And it threw me off, honestly. But later, I realized it was everything this video is about. The kind of love that doesn't perform, it just is. The quiet kind that shows up trembling but honest. And that's what romanticizing life really means. Noticing the sacred hiding in the simple. When my mental health started declining during quarantine, I came across so many amazing tips from people who are going or went through the same thing. One quote that really spoke to me was, living in the past is depression. Living in the future is anxiety. Even as children, stories were trying to give us the tools. What day is it? Asked Pooh. It's today, squeaked Piglet. My favorite day, said Pooh. Maybe he meant the quiet art of noticing, of treating the moment in front of us as something sacred. We also see this in Hatha Yoga, the discipline of balance between effort and ease, motion and stillness, the seen and unseen. Every pose is just a rehearsal for arrival. Learning how to show up fully in your body, in your breath, in your moment. And at the end of every practice comes Savasana, corpse pose, where you lie perfectly still, not to escape life, but to just let it settle. And that stillness is the proof that you are here. So when the world feels unreal, when derealization creeps in, when your days start to blur, this is how we ground ourselves again. We return to the body, we return to the senses, we return to the simple, steady truth of being alive. Even in Studio Ghibli worlds, solitude never means isolation. There's always someone nearby, a friend cooking beside you, a spirit tending the garden, a creature humming in another room. Connection isn't about noise, it's about resonance. And here in the study, that resonance is how we find each other. I'd like to know, fellow scholar, what's one small, ordinary act that felt sacred to you lately? Record your finding below. The study will archive your entry. So, dear friends, light the candle, pour the tea, write the letter, learn something new. Be intentional with yourself. Not every day needs a grand adventure. Some days, the quiet ones, are where you remember why you wanted more in the first place. As Miyazaki once said, life is a winking light in the darkness. Until the next dispatch from the study, I'll leave a candle lit for you.